Hey everybody, this is JT from Savage Talk. Today we're gonna go over the new Halo series that just came out on Paramount. I wasn't the biggest Halo video game fan in the world. I mean, I used to play them all. I played the new one, not that much. I'm sure a lot of people still play it, but I played it for like a couple days. That was it. Like I said, I've never been the biggest. I've never been the biggest Halo video game fan. It's too slow for me. It's not my kind of multiplayer. I was more of a Call of Duty guy. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. We all saw the trailer. The trailer, it didn't impress a lot of people. It didn't impress me. Everybody thought it was woke. Everybody thought it was this. Everybody thought it looked cheap. And it did look cheap from the trailer. I mean, when I say I've been a Halo fan, I've been a Bungie fan, creators of Halo, since a little game called Marathon. I don't know how many people remember Marathon. Probably not nearly as many. Probably a good thing. It means most of you are young. Marathon goes back to the old dial-up days. So if you heard this sound before, you know exactly what the hell I'm talking about, because that's the time that game came out. It's back when dial-up was around and AOL and all that other silliness. So when that trailer first came out, I really didn't have high hopes, and I thought it was going to come and go, and I didn't think I would review it, but here we are, because I just watched it. And I didn't hate it, which, I mean, these days, that's pretty impressive, okay? So, I'm going to tell you a little bit about it, right? So, let me just say, before we get started, there's going to be spoilers in this video. So, if you haven't seen it yet, and you don't want to know what happens, maybe watch it later, okay? That's the best I can tell you. All right, here we go. First thing. The show does not start off with music. You have the first part, which I'll get to. But the music that's in the show is obviously from the game. But it seems like a more watered down version of it. So it was nice to hear, and I'm glad they kept the music, and in some parts they had it, and in the intro they had it. But it wasn't like the really strong, get your heart pumping Halo music that you're used to, because I mean, that's some of the best parts of Halo is the score, the soundtrack. And while they did have it, it didn't make as big as impact as it could have, as I think it should have. I mean, I think the show should have started off with the music, but whatever. I guess they wanted to start off with the craziness that that we're about to go over or went over or whatever. But the music it's there and it's nice, but it certainly could have been better. But it's there, and that's a plus. So straight off the bat, you start off on some backwater planet called Madrigal. You see a bunch of rebels. They're all very diverse. So Paramount definitely met their diversity quotient. We got that under control. That's covered. Now we can go on with the show. They're talking about the Spartans and how brutal and merciless they are, and that they kill rebels without a second thought, and they can't be killed, yada yada yada. So we start out in the woods with a bunch of kids playing, running around, and apparently in the future everyone looks like Yolandi Visser of The Antwoord, because they all had her haircut and kind of had her vibe going on, but with a little bit of rebel flavor, which I found kind of weird, but I mean, that's where they're going. That's where they're going. And I'm like, okay, this is going to be cheesy and corny. And they come upon Quan comes upon some noise in a cave. And something scares her. She runs and tells all her friends, like, oh my God, we got to get out of here. We got to get out of here. They're like, what? It's the UNC? And he's like, no. And she's like, they don't want to listen because kids are dumb. And that's in the script. And I'm like, okay, it's going to be something silly. Maybe one or two will get captured or killed. No, no, no. It went fucking crazy there. It went crazy. They just started killing all these kids and blowing them to pieces and blowing off body parts and just wiping them out. They wiped out all the kids. All the kids are wiped out. You don't see who's wiping them out, but they all get wiped out. And I'm just like, oh shit, I wasn't expecting that. At least not that brutally, not that bloody. I was like, this is Paramount. I'm like, then again, I was like, I did see Mayor of Kingstown on Paramount, and that's a great show, by the way. If you haven't watched that show, you should watch that show because that's probably the best show on television right now. Well, even though it's over, but I mean, if you have Paramount, go watch it because it's the best show on television. So Quan running away while all her friends are getting killed. Gets blood on her face from like the first one that gets splattered, and she runs and alerts the guards. See, I don't know if the guards see her or oh no, she sets off a flare. They see the flare, and apparently that's the red flare, and the red flare means under attack, I guess. So they start battening down the hatches and getting ready for an attack, and they're about to shut the door. Quan comes in, sees her dad, telling everybody, oh my god, it's not UNC, it's not the Spartans, run. Nobody believes her, and they're not really, they're just doing their job. They're like, go, get ready, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it wasn't Spartans, okay? Newsflash, it was the Covenant. And the Covenant were big and beefy, like Covenant should be. And for the most part, the CGI looked pretty good. I mean, for a television show, the CGI looked damn good for a television show. Now, it's not movie quality, but it's good. It's good. I don't like the skin textures on the Covenant that much, but the Spartans, the CGI on the Spartans didn't look so good. They looked kind of clunky when they moved, when they did use CGI. But for the most part, the Spartans moved pretty good, especially the female Spartan. The coolest looking Spartan of all of them was Mackie, which is played by Charlie Murphy. Not that Charlie Murphy, the Charlie Murphy on screen. She used to be in Peaky Blinders. She was like, I think like the communist journalist or something like that. She was some kind of communist, I'm pretty sure, from like the first or second season. I don't know. She was in other things, I'm sure, that I've never seen. But she was in that, and anybody in Peaky Blinders in my book is good. And I remember her being good in that. And her Spartan is badass in this. Is just badass, which is nice to see. And they didn't beat you over the head like Woman badass. She's just another Spartan, and she's badass. And it was cool. And I'm sure we're gonna see the other Spartans look badass too. Like the big dude looked like he was ready to go. I'll talk more about him later, I guess, but not really so much because he didn't do much. Here's a shot of all the Spartans together. Look how cool she looks, man. She had all I guess the radio gear and everything. And then I guess that's the big dude in the way back. Although he doesn't look that big there, but in the show, he's gigantic. And then the other guy you didn't see very much of. And then, of course, in the front, Master Chief. The armor looks really good, but up close, it looked too gritty and not metallic. Like, it looked like they've been fighting for a long time, to be honest. Like, they look old and beat up, the suits. Which I guess they have because they said they've been fighting the Covenant for years in the show. So I guess that totally makes sense. But I don't know. I expected it to look more metallic and less gritty, but I guess they're just battle scarred, So anyway, the Covenant break in and they just start wiping everybody out. And they try to fight back. And the Covenant all have shields, just like in the game. And speaking of shields, Master Chief has the shields, just like in the game. And it makes the same noise, and it works in the same exact way. And it's like, oh, member berries. It was nice. It's like, oh, they're paying homage to the game. And they even showed him in first person for a couple kills when they break in, which they do shortly after the attack starts. And I think there's like 5 or 6 of them. And they all look pretty damn good. The Spartans look really good. I was impressed by how they looked. except some of the CGI when they were like jumping and stuff. When they were like jumping, they looked mechanical and clunky and they did not flow well. But I mean, again, it's a TV show and it's not like Amazon, it's Paramount. You got to give a little. I don't expect much for them on their first big CGI show. I think it's their first big CGI show. It's the first one I've seen. Anyway, that's not entirely true. There's those dog shit Star Trek shows too. Picard and Discovery and all those other really, really bad Star Trek shows. Ugh. There's a big ass battle. Everybody dies but Quan and the Spartans. The Spartans kill everybody. Quan's dad dies. She's upset. Spartans track back to this cave that the Covenant were in, where the kids originally were, and there's an artifact in there, and Master Chief touches it, and it shows him memories of his childhood. Apparently, Spartans, when becoming Spartans, are stripped of their memories, I guess. I think that's the same thing in the game. I'm not sure, because I remember one of them, I think maybe even the newest one, he had memories of childhood and all that stuff, and again, not the biggest fan. They scoop Quan up, start flying away. You can see that obviously when that artifact had an effect on Master Chief, which we'll find out soon enough, I'm sure. So then we see Dr. Halsey, by the way, who's played by, I don't remember the actress's name, but she was in Californication, and she played Karen, David Duchovny's wife. She was awesome on that show, so I was happy to see her again. I'm sure she's been in other things again. I don't remember what. I'm sure I've seen her. But it's cool to see her. I'm glad she's in this. She's a good actress. And then they cut to the Covenant headquarters called High Charity. And basically, it looks like a big space jellyfish, even though it's not. I don't think it's alive. It looks mechanical. But it looks kind of like a cool jellyfish, which was cool. And apparently there's some sort of human trader or something helping them learn more about humanity. I don't remember if that's from the games or not. I haven't played them in a long time. I don't know if that character is based off of a real character or if they made her up for the show. But the head of the Covenant, I forget what those dudes are called because they don't say it in the show, but they look pretty cool. The CGI in him was cool. It sounded like they were speaking Chinese. It probably wasn't Chinese, but it was probably based off Chinese. Why are they always making aliens like Chinese? Like, didn't Star Wars did that in the prequels? I think they got into a lot of trouble for doing that too. So, Halo should be careful. So they don't want to get canceled before they even get started, right? So while they're on the ship, Quan gets like a hollow call from the UNC, and basically it's a publicist. I guess she's a publicist because they show her working with dead bodies later, like dead Covenant bodies later. So I don't know what she is. She's something for the UNC. She says she's not a politician, but she's trying to convince Quan to speak out for the rebels, for the UNC, for unity of all humans to fight the Covenant, because without everyone's help, they're gonna lose. That's their that's the story they're going with. Probably right. Covenant's no joke. And Quan is like, basically, go F yourself. You killed my family. You didn't help my family. I'm gonna say you guys did it. And they're like, all right, so what do you want to say? What we want you to say, because that's not true. We tried to help. And they're like, we want freedom from you. We want Madrigal to be free. We don't want to be under your rule. And they're like, we'll get back to you. So we cut back to the UNC area. I don't know if it's on Reach. I'm not sure if Reach is on Earth or not. I don't remember. I didn't read it. But I think it's the planet Reach, if I remember correctly. Anyway, so you find out that the spokesperson for the UNC that hollow-vided the Quan is Dr. Halsey's daughter. And I don't think she likes her very much. And I think her dad is the head of the UNC, armed forces. And well, definitely got their diversity in on that one too, so that's fine. Everything's covered, you know. They got all their I's dotted and all their T's slashed. So they get to talking, and the head UNC guy, her dad, tells her, "Look, it's too bad. You know that girl's gonna die." She's like, "What? She's not even sick. I just talked to her." And they're like, "Oh, we're gonna do article whatever." And he's like, "Yeah, yeah, comes for higher ups." And she's like, "So what? We're just gonna kill this girl, this teenager for no reason?" He's like, "Those are the orders. That's what we do." Da 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 da. She's like, "That's not cool." You know. Anyway, you know how the military is on these shows. They're the devil. Always the devil. So then we see the Pelican flying back towards Reach. And the CGI in space, man, it's very plain. Like it looked really generic. Like they had it almost looked like a nebula or something, but there was no color to it. Like there's no color in space for this. It just didn't look good. It looked cheap. Looked very cheap. Not a big fan of the cheap. So you can the UNC people are worried about Master Chief because he's acting a little weird because apparently they monitor everything on the ship and everything that the Spartans do at all times. And I think that was how it was in the game too, if I remember correctly. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's what happened. So we cut back to Dr. Halsey, Karen from Californication. And the UNC are all bugging out, and they're like, "You better get control of your boy the Spartan here, because he's acting a little weird. Don't want to have to kill him too." And she's like, "Oh yeah, everything's fine. Everything's fine. He'll be fine. Don't worry about it." And you can tell that these UNC people are all creeps, right? You can tell that they're not the best of people. And then they tell Halsey she can't continue her experiment. And then they show it afterwards, and it's a bald kid in like a container or something, some kind of machine. And you get the idea that it's a clone or something. And apparently that's the Cortana project. So I guess the hologram Cortana is a clone. I don't know where they're going with this. Again, maybe that's from the games that I don't remember. One of the games, I don't remember Cortana being a clone. I thought she was just strictly an AI. But what the hell do I know? I'm an old man. The UNC are definitely not good guys in this show so far. Now I don't know how that's gonna change, but basically they're like, if Master Chief doesn't come around, you're gonna have to take him out. And during this time, Quan is talking to Master Chief, and you find out that Master Chief killed her mother, and it seemed like it was an unjust thing, and Master Chief realizes this, and they kind of have some unspoken words about it. And right when that happens, Master Chief gets the order to kill Quan. And, he's going over it in his head, obviously, and wondering what he should do. Blah, blah, blah. Long story short, he doesn't, obviously, because then there'd be no story. And he starts making plans to make sure that they don't kill her. And at that time, they cut off her oxygen, and then they start to cut off his oxygen. He figures it out. He tries to find a way around it. They realize what he's doing. They start mobilizing the troops for when he gets there, because the Pelican's on autopilot to go back to Reach. And at this time, Dr. Halsey here, she gets the other Spartans and was like, "Look, these people are going to attack John 117, Master Chief." And they're like, "What? We're gonna break orders? They're like, They're like, if they fire upon Master Chief, then they're the enemy. And she's like, exactly. So they have their orders, and they're going to help Master Chief if they attack him. So anyway, the Pelican starts coming in. He finally gets control. Quan helps him get control of the ship. The ship gets shot out of the sky. The engine shut down. Plane lands on the landing deck. Everyone's there with guns raised. Spartans are about to shoot them. And then John touches the artifact. And then he sees more of his past when he was like a little kid. And for some reason, he was drawing the artifact as a little kid. And then somehow the artifact turns magical and fixes the ship. And then they take off and leave. Yeah. They take off and leave. And Dr. Halsey looks all happy about it. And you're just left sitting there wondering what the fuck just happened. So it started off really good. Everything was really cool. It was really bloody. It was far more violent than I ever expected from this show. It was very diverse, but I wouldn't say that it was woke, which so far so good. It doesn't seem woke. Ryan Kinno will be surprised because the black guy and the Indian woman actually seem kind of bad, even though I think the UNC guy, the head military guy, I don't know his name, damn it. I think it's like Soren or something like that. I think he's gonna come around in the end because of his daughter and Dr. Halsey and whatever. But they're making him out to be like I don't want to say a unwilling bad guy, but a conflicted bad guy at this point in time. But the Indian woman that's head of the UNC, she's definitely just a heartless bitch in this show. So, I mean, at least it doesn't seem woke, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I actually have some hopes for the show. I think it's gonna be good. I hope it's gonna be good. I mean, we deserve something good, don't we? It'd be nice if Halo was good, but it ended kind of stupid. Like I hope they find a way to explain how the magic artifact just magically fixed the ship that just got shot out of the air and let them fly away. You know, I mean, I guess they had to write some MacGuffin to make them get out of that situation because it was like a no-win situation. But God, I hope they don't do a lot of that. I hope they do more of what they did in the beginning of the episode because the fighting was pretty badass. CGI was not the best, but for TV it was really good. Okay, that's where we are. Let's hope for the best. We'll see the next episode. I don't know if I'm going to review it. I'm only reviewing this one because I was surprised that it was better than I was expecting and that it wasn't woke and too silly. So please like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.